Hi guys, Chris here, back checking out another mini PC. This is one that a viewer said, why don't you check this one out here? It was Colin. Thank you so much for pointing me in the right direction to pick this up from AliExpress for 400 US. Now why this little mini PC is interesting is you can see it's got a small form factor, it's got a little bit of upgradability, but it also packs quite a bit of power with an Intel 8th Gen i7 8750H in here. So that's a 6-core 12-thread CPU. And it also has 2 SSD slots in here, which are the NVMe form factor. So you can put a lot of storage in it, also a 2.5-inch hard drive bay. It comes with a wireless AC chip in there, a little tiny card. You can upgrade that as well. Little antennas you see on the rear, but it's a very good little mini PC, the best that I've looked at in some time. So let's take a look at what we first get in the box and the design of this little mini PC from AliExpress. So let's check out what we have in the box first. So it is well packaged up. There's some padding around it. There's the mini PC, obviously, and it feels pretty heavy. We'll have a look at that in some detail in just a minute. So we have 2 remaining boxes here. Okay, there's a instructional leaflet that looks like it could actually all be in Chinese, and yes, it is. So not too much use there. All Chinese. And here is our power supply by the looks of it, yes. And we've got a bracket here, so that's for a VESA mount, so you can put it on the back of a monitor or a TV if you wanted to. And this one I think is another cable or something here, so let's take it out. So we've got a EU cable here, that's good. And this just fell out, some screws, so that's obviously the screws for mounting, and some little rubber feet here as well for the mini PC. And then this must be the power supply right here, so we'll check out the rating of that. Okay, so there it is. It looks like a notebook power supply. You can see with the plug that we've got right there. And the maximum voltage output is 19 volts, 4.7 amps. If you needed a replacement, it's positive in the middle. And they also did include an HDMI cable. So the frame of the whole thing is made out of metal. You can see at the back there, we've got those tiny little antennas. Now these things are really small, but they are the standard connector. So this is a SMA, I think it is. So you'll be able to get replacements that are higher gain antennas than just those tiny little ones they've included. I don't know why they didn't just put normal bigger ones in the box. So the top of it, if we are looking at it that way, so the top is where we've got our fan. You can see good ventilation. There's ventilation all around so far. We've got Type-C port on the front, 2 USB 3 power, status LED, and then a 3.5mm headphone jack. Now that Type-C port, I believe, is only just USB 3 spec. It's not Thunderbolt, and it's not Gen 2.1 or anything like that, 1.2. Along the back, we have a gigabit LAN port there. That's good. So if you wanted to connect this up, maybe run it as a server or just have faster connection and not even bother with the wireless, you can do that. We've got mini display out. HDMI, now I think it is HDMI 2 spec, but I will confirm that in this video. Another 2 USB 3 ports, and then of course there is our DC in there for charging, and some vents here. This looks like it could actually be, yes it is, a Kensington lock slot, so you'll be able to lock this little mini PC down if you needed to. So on the left and the right of this little mini PC, there are no extra ports here. We do have top and bottom, some gaps there, so the ventilation looks to be pretty good. Of course in this review I'll be covering the fan noise, any throttling, any current limiting, that'll all be covered. Then on the back of it, we have 4 screws. This is the panel that we need to remove to get access to the internals, of course, to add your components. I just got the bare bone one. You can buy ones that are pre-configured, and there are 2 little screw holes here. That, of course, is for that VESA bracket. With the lid now removed, you can see that this is where the 2.5-inch drive is going to go. This is SATA 3, of course, and here is our connector. So later you would just plug that in and have that screwed in place there. I don't know how you're going to actually do that. Oh, the 2 screws there. I see how you have to do it. It's going to be a little bit awkward, I think, but it is possible. We've got one of 2 SODIMM slots, so this is double data rate 4 spec. You can put 2400 megahertz RAM in this. Then underneath that SATA 3 connector, we have the NVMe M.2 or SATA 3 connector. So there's a screw right here you can just see, and this is where you would slot that in. So I'm going to put one of those drives in there. And then I removed those 4 screws on the top to remove the top plate, which you can see is right here. So that's quite easy to come off. In fact, they did not screw them down properly. So now we can access our other SODIMM slot for our RAM right here, and then the main drive slot. So this is the NVMe slot. You can see it's just hidden right there. And there is a wireless card down here as well, so that is upgradable if you wanted to put a better card in, because they're just using the 3165 and that has a maximum throughput of just over 400 megabits per second, so you could go with one of those gigabit wireless cards if you wanted to from Intel, the 9000 series. Alright, so I've now got my PCIe SSD, which is a Samsung 970 EVO in here, 256 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes of HyperX Impact Double Data Rate 4 RAM installed. Let's power it up. So it looks like our BIOS is completely locked out to us, really. There are no options. This is all you get. There's a few under the boot menu. You can adjust a few things like the Intel Speed Step, Turbo options, SATA and RST configuration, and then your boot order, so very basic. Alright, so I've got it running now through just a little portable 15.6 inch monitor here. I was going to do some screen capturing, but unfortunately the RAM that's in my notebook, I've had to have put it into this mini PC, so that's why I'm not doing a screen capture of this. And I just wanted to show you just a couple of things. First here, obviously Windows 10, you need to install that yourself. The drivers will pull through from Windows Update. Use your own license. I bought one from eBay, so that's an additional cost of, it cost me only about 10 US, and it's working fine, so Windows 10 Home there, I didn't go too extreme. My 960 EVO, that Samsung NVMe drive, that is also running here, you can see, at its full speed, so it depends on what kind of drive you put in here. You can install a cheaper SATA 3 if you wanted to, and it would run at then 500 reads and about 500 writes there, so very good speeds there. So I've run a couple of benchmarks, as I normally do in these videos, just to give you an idea of the performance. So what we're looking at right here is the same exact chipset, so the Intel Core i7 8750H, but in my laptop. This is the GL63, and you can see the performance there, very good, the multi-core score. And now we have our little mini PC here from AliExpress with an even faster single-core score for some reason. Multi-core score slightly less, but overall really good. Now this is stock. I've done no tweaks, no undervolts at all there. And the OpenCL score, so this is the Intel 630, that's integrated graphics here. This is a good score for integrated graphics, so Intel really has improved things here. And as you see later on, you can play certain games just, of course, with lower settings. I did overclock this a little bit, so you can overclock the GPU, the integrated GPU, with Intel's XTU, which I will show you in 10 seconds, and I just overclocked at 100 megahertz, and this has brought the score up a little bit, as you can see. So here we have Intel XTU. I've undervolted now a little bit on this CPU. You don't have to do this, but the thermals are great. It's not going to go over, in my testing, 80 degrees, and this is even with a boosted power limit. So you can see right here, power limit by default is 50 watts and 58 peak, the max boost. So I increased it a little bit just to help with my performance there. And it's holding 3.9 gigahertz on all 6 cores without any problems. You don't run into any thermal throttling. Occasionally you will see power limit throttling that just pops up now and then. And that is kind of normal. That's going to happen. But obviously it's all going to be dependent really on what you're doing. But you don't normally see any of that. So there's no real problems with any throttling whatsoever, so I'm impressed with that. And I just increased the graphics here, so the clock at the top, you can increase that by the ratio limit. So I increased it from 11 to 12, and that will give us 1200 megahertz for the maximum turbo there on the GPU. Okay, so a few other tests here. I did run Cinebench R15, now this is with the undervolt. Very good score here, so just over 1200 CB is really amazing for such a small little PC, especially when you factor in the fan noise of this, which I will get onto later on this review. It's a very quiet little PC, and it really is impressive. The stock score here, we'll just show you that as well, is 1100 CB, so that's without any undervolt. Again, is still a very good score, very impressive there, and a pass mark rating as well. So 4,756. So that's it for benchmarks. I'm not going to show you any more than that. Its performance is really good for what it is. So I do have here Adobe Premiere Pro that is open. Latest version, CC 2019, what I edit my videos with. And I wanted just to demonstrate that editing 4K video, very good performance here with this. No problems. I'm going to now encode 1 minute of footage, and we'll see how long it takes with hardware acceleration. Alright, so here we go with the YouTube 4K preset. I'm going to hit export there, and at the same time, more or less, hit the stopwatch. So let's see how long this takes to encode 1 minute of 4K footage. Okay, so it's just finishing up now, just a few seconds left. Looking like it's going to take about 2 minutes 30 seconds. No, there we go. 2 minutes and 23 seconds to encode 1 minute of 4K footage with the YouTube preset. I will go back into Intel XTU and have a look at how it fared here. So it was holding the 3.9 gigahertz across all the 6 cores there without any problems, and the maximum temperature it got up to was 33 degrees there. I can see. For some reason I can't see all that. There we go. Package temperature right up there. About 77 degrees is what it peaked at. Now, I haven't had any problems at all with the range and the reception of the wireless. It has those tiny little antennas and the Intel 3165 chipset. You can upgrade it. My peak speeds through some downloads here with Steam, you can see, was 25 megabytes per second peak, which is not bad because faster cards I can normally get around 30 megabytes peak or even up to about 35. As you would imagine with the Core i7-8750H in here, that everything is really fast, it's very fluid. There's no point me going over basic things like document editing, spreadsheets and all that. It's going to be very, very quick. This is a powerful chipset that is in here. So I'm going to go ahead and test out games. What about gaming performance? Let's find out if we can play a few titles on this at least. Now, often when I test out these mini PCs, the low-end ones, I do edit documents and things like that and spreadsheets, but there's no point in me covering that here and even Chrome performance and stuff like that because it is very, very fast here. I'll just go along and start opening up some random tabs here and you'll see that, I mean, this hardware is very quick. This is really high-end notebook hardware, this chip that's in here, the 45 watt chip that's in this, and you can see that is loading up everything really super quick in there. And you can do YouTube streaming in 4K, you can play 4K videos, VP9 native decoding, HEVC, no problems whatsoever. So let's skip ahead now and check out just a couple of games and see how this chipset fares with that integrated graphics. So this is a light title, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, on the highest settings, 1080p, and we're getting around 50 frames per second, so this is not too bad considering it is Intel's integrated graphics. So this one looks fine. I'll step it up now with a more demanding game. We'll test out Witcher 3. Okay, so Witcher's not faring as well. You can see 20 frames per second. This is 720p on the lower settings too, by the way. So you might be able to lower it to 800 x 600, get this game at least playable. But this one's just too demanding, too slow for the Intel integrated GPU. And then GTA 5, this is running in 1080p on the lowest settings, is just playable here. You probably want to run this one, I would say, in 720p, be a little faster. It's not the best, you can see. But it is playable, just scraping that 25 frames per second. I thought it might run a little bit better here. But again, we're just on an integrated GPU, so it's not a gaming beast, this machine here. And it's a shame it does not have Thunderbolt 3 either, so you cannot hook up an external GPU. So this mini PC in one area has really surprised me where they are often terrible, and that is fan noise. The fan noise is actually very good. It's quick to ramp up and quick to completely die away as well, which is great. Now it will reach just over 50 decibels, and I'll give you a sample now what it's like the fan under complete load, but when it's not under load, you don't even hear it at all. It's just so quiet, very impressive. So after all that benchmarking, stress testing, and gaming, let's have a look at the surface temperatures, and they do feel really quite good. So you can see it is heating up to just about 30 degrees, and along the top here, doesn't seem to go over that. Okay, about 35, but that's actually pointing right into the internals now, my probe. But very good, very good. And let's take a look at the power supply now. So that is heating up a little bit hotter, actually, up to 38 degrees now, the power supply. But overall, this is acceptable, very good thermals on this. Okay guys, here, so to quickly recap, this has surpassed my expectations. I did not expect the fan noise to be this good. The last ones I've looked at, they've been a little noisy, but this one, when you're not doing anything, is just super silent. It's whisper quiet. The fans, they ramp up really well, and then it disappears. As soon as it cools down enough, the fan will go down with the temperatures very quickly, so that is great. Performance, very, very good. Plenty of storage options on this. Overall, the build quality is good, and the design, you can upgrade that wireless if you're not happy with the speeds. The Ethernet port on here I did check out as well, and that is working fine. So it is, to me, a recommended little mini PC if you don't need an external graphics card. So if you're not happy with the internal graphics, unfortunately you are stuck with it because there's no Thunderbolt 3 on this. The only other thing that this mini PC for me is missing is HDMI 2.A spec at least, so we could get 4K 60 Hz. However, there is mini DisplayPort out on this, so you can at least get 4K 60 Hz. So overall, this is a very good little mini PC. Now the price of this will be going up and down. That's what AliExpress is like. So wait until they have those sales and you might be able to pick it up for a little cheaper. This one cost me about approximately 420 US, which I feel is okay considering the spec, what it's got. It's a tiny little size, great little package, great fan noise overall. I'm going to be keeping this one here. Thank you so much for watching this review. Hope to catch you with my next up and coming reviews. And if you haven't, please like and also subscribe to the channel for more up and coming reviews. Bye for now.